Wake up.
Okay, let's go.
Wake up. You gotta be attentive.
Okay, an audience.
Mom.
How you doing?
Okay, I just want to thank y'all for coming tonight. I wanted to speak to you guys about, of course, I know you've all heard about the presidential election coming up, and I just want to make sure we're all informed. Our president, Barack Obama, has been under fire by a portion of America and far-right fringe the Republican Party. I believe if people were better informed about plans and policies that have been made and are already established and moving forward since January 2009, it will present a better chance of an educated vote and possibly motivate some who are unmotivated now. Voting is the cornerstone of democracy and is very crucial when it comes to what policies will shape the future of the United States. I myself have been voting since 2000 and can remember watching primaries and debates and thinking these guys put more, but not always true, information out about their opponent and their ideas than they do about themselves. And surely I'm not going to base my judgment of a candidate on what he or she is saying about their supposed enemy in the debate. Today I would like to share with you some information on our standing president's record. I've been researching and fact-checking presidents and presidential candidates for the 3 cycles, now to give each a fair shot on my vote, as I do not consider myself a Republican nor a Democrat. I like to know what's on file or on the record as to what's been said and done versus what the person is saying at the moment and what they're going to do, and hopefully you do too. Okay, to start off, let's take a look back in 2008 when President George W. Bush had the country on the brink of total collapse. At its peak in 2009, national unemployment had risen a staggering 10%. In 2008, the U.S. had lost 4.5 million jobs and another 4.3 a year later, according to factcheck.org. In a total, that's 8.8 million people that the president had to get back to work before being able to create net job growth. It had been reported that the president has created 325,000 net worth jobs. Since he's been in office. I know that number doesn't sound like much, but if you look at it as if it was your bank account and you were $8.8 million in the hole, you know that even though you're getting direct deposit into your account, you need to first pay back that $8.8 million. And then you'll work on starting with net growth, or starting with who's getting, if you think of it as who's getting work, that'll be jobs gained. So 325,000 doesn't seem like that little when thinking about it in that aspect. On another note, the American auto industry was going bankrupt and we were plunging into financial crisis that had the U.S. looking like it would repeat the Great Depression of the 1920s, says pewtrust.org. As of September 2008, banks put in place a credit freeze, in part because there was no money to lend. President Obama takes a lot of heat for the bank bailouts, but in truth, President George W. Bush proposed the $700 billion bailout and signed a bailout plan into law on October 3rd of 2008. From July 2008 to March 2009, U.S. lost $3.4 trillion in real estate value, and 500,000 more homes went into foreclosure than expected by the CBO, which is the Congressional Budget Office. When President Obama took office, manufacturing activity was at 34.9. It's now standing at 51.5, a 48 increase from when he took office. According to the National Bureau of Economy Research, President Obama inherited the worst economic recession since the Great Depression, which began in 2007, December of 2007, and ended in June 2009. Now, with that being said, President Obama faced challenges and obstructions from the moment he was sworn in. The challenges being the economy and the obstruction being the Republican Party. Top figures in the Republican Party held a meeting moments after he was inaugurated and vowed to make Obama a one-term president by not cooperating and blocking his efforts to get the country back on track. I don't know about you guys, but I feel if the Republican Party had worked with the president and put the recovery of the country ahead of their own agenda to block, undermine, and in many cases disrespect the president, the country could have seen more progress at this point. Despite the rhetoric, the ideology, and outright lies, here are a few more facts of the accomplishments made by President Barack Obama. On the president's first day in office, he froze the White House salary as if to show the American public that he nor his staff would take any extra pay from taxpayers' money while the American people struggle. To combat the failing economy, President Obama put in place the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, also known as the stimulus package. Once implemented, the bill created and sustained 2.1 million jobs and stimulated the economy by 3.5%. It is known that corporate banks were largely responsible for the near collapse of the financial system. So what the president did was put in place the Dodd-Frank and created Consumer Financial Protection Bureau so that the bank could no longer use your money to invest in high-risk financial instruments that will work against the interests of their own consumer. This legislation helps to protect the American people and their money. Dodd-Frank is one of the most comprehensive, largest Wall Street reforms passed since the Great Depression. He also endorsed and supported the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act of 2009 and the American Jobs and Closing Tax Loophole Act, which would also close offshore tax avoidance loopholes in order to keep the American dollar in America and have people and companies that have that type of money to send offshores paying their fair share of taxes like average Americans. Obama implemented and completed the massive TARP financial and banking rescue plan, bailing out banks that would have otherwise collapsed America along with financial systems if not helped. When it came to helping millions of families facing foreclosure, Obama put in place Helping Families Save Their Home Act as a preventative measure and also provided $2.2 billion to help combat homelessness and to stabilize the housing market. These are a few accomplishments of President Obama for the people, along with accomplishments in social and foreign issues. In conclusion, what the president has done for America as a whole can be researched. I've come to realize instead of investigating the facts, many Americans follow rhetoric, opinions of others, and outright lies instead of accepting the obvious. Presidents have been liked, disliked, loved, hated since the beginning. All I've proposed is that Americans place an educated vote and put aside their personal feelings and beliefs for what is right for the country as a whole. Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.